it was not for these tribes, there would be no Africa to talk about. We invite you to pay attention to the following. Africa's enemies now front the Chinese, who they are financing to wipe out Black Africa. Watch our video, or My Africa is in Trouble, to verify that. Let us watch the following video by Brother Paekche that details the information that we have just uttered.
From the dawn of the first millennium and for at least 3 centuries, from all over Asia and even Central Africa, in small groups of a few dozen people, women and men headed north, and the cities of Chang'an and Luoyang in the central plains of the northeast. From there, they would continue to the Pacific coast. Before that, they had to survive the many dangers of the plains of Central Asia. The lucky ones had to sail by the southern sea routes. Then they crossed for many weeks the deserted valleys, forests, and mountains of the southeastern kingdoms, recently conquered and totally destroyed by the Hans and other tribes from the northern mountains. All of these Black people knew that the Silk Roads must be avoided at all costs. Those are the ways through which all the material and cultural riches of the Black kingdoms massacred by the Hans and their allies were rooted and traded. Cutthroat places, these caravan routes were under the control of the Han armies. Only scientists and other scholars were spared. They were sent to forced labor in huge transcription and translation centers of African scientific Buddhism, where they worked until death. These refugees had abandoned everything, but they still had a strong hope for their children and a dream for themselves. Kudara, the only kingdom capable of resisting the Han, the only country where the spirituality of life, the high ancestral sciences of Africa, could once again flourish. Located both on the mainland, in the Kudara Peninsula, and on the Yamato archipelago, the kingdom was founded at the beginning of the present era. It united indigenous populations of Black and white races. They would welcome more and more fugitives who would forever change their destiny. Rich with a productive and effective civilization, they mastered and shared technical knowledge and know-how never seen in the region. This cultural and political combination, unique in history, would favor the birth and construction at very high speed of the Kudara nation. It became, in less than 300 years, the spiritual light, the cultural and scientific lighthouse, the maritime commercial powerhouse of the whole continent. Kudara remains the most brilliant civilization in Asian history, with no rival possible. The genocide of Kudara people, guiding nation of Asia and ancestors of the Japanese, by the Chinese in alliance with the South Koreans through their Shilla ancestors, followed by the total and unmotivated destruction of the historic Middle Kingdom, and lastly its deletion from official history, are the sole and only reasons for all 21st century serious conflicts in the Korean Peninsula between China, Japan, South, and North Korea. For fear of failure, any sincere diplomatic action between Japan, China, and the 2 Koreas must include these dramatic events in the program of negotiations. Since 2014, Paekche's principle, the Great Secret of Asia, has been an essential resource for conclusive diplomatic talks, because this theory is the only historical, rational, and operative law that explains Asian history and helps build a more stable and prosperous future. Read and offer Paekche's Principle, The Great Secret of Asia, the book that prevents China President Xi Jinping from sleeping.
Now that we have seen that the Chinese are one of our greatest enemies, let us ask that question again. How has Africa survived and remained black for the last 2,000 or so years? Warning to each of us and every other African black person or Negro. Beware, the Chinese are colonizers. They are not investors. Anywhere where they go, they destroy and kill everything. African leadership in ancient times, the wise rulership of kings like Moshoshwe and Chaga Zulu was able to sustain and support us. The current African leadership thinks that it's easy money they're getting from the Chinese and they're building rich dynasties in the shape and formula of the Rockefeller and Rothschild. They are in for a rude shock. Their children, I'm telling them today, they are going to be destroyed and liquidated and be removed out of the earth. Included in these ancient enemies of black people are endless attacks by the Persians, the Greeks, and Romans and Muslims. Yet we are still here in Africa. How or who is responsible? Some wise leaders, of course, but largely we should pay tribute to the warrior tribes. You do not know these tribes. Over 2,000 years of fighting for you and me to preserve Africa. History never tells you this. They are powerful, fearless warrior hero tribes who have defended you and me for generations across up to today. We must be grateful to them. I say to them today, Asante Sana. They fought the Persians. They fought the Greeks. They stopped Rome from coming southwards into Africa. They stopped all sellout black Arabs and their white Muslim masters from taking over the whole of Africa. We lost some battles, yes. We lost millions of lives, yes. But at least we are still here. Yes, Africa was later colonized. Our brothers and sisters were later enslaved, and they were taken across unwillingly into other lands. We lost other continents too. The American continent, Asiatic continent, and the Pacific Islands. We lost them. But at least we are still there. Today, they stand up against Europeans from all over the earth who are descending to take over Africa. If not for them, then Africa would be forgotten history. Close chef to extinction. We in Africa survived and remained black from the attacks of Romans, Greeks, Persians, Christians, and Muslims because of the fighting efforts and the fighting spirits of the tribes that are still found in the north of Africa. The Oromo in North Kenya and in Oromoland, in Somalia. The Oromo in Ethiopia. The Karamajong, the Tekana, the Samburu, the Pokoti, the Dinka, the Nua, the Masai, the Hima, the Barundi, the Nyarwanda, and many, many, many others. These are warrior tribes from long back, even in Hemet. All these tribes are amongst the toughest warriors on this planet. They fear nothing. They change nothing. They don't want to change themselves. They fight and preserve African culture. They are the darkest of all the people, and we pray that they remain in that mode for generations to come. For the last 2,400 years, they have saved Africa from annihilation. Europe took Mahati, ransacked Hemeti, ransacked Ethiopia, colonized and mutilated all our continents in the north. They stole everything, and today they try their best to be what they are not. But we are still here. How Africans became Christians, how Africans became Muslims, it was through this process. So when you see a Muslim brother, he is a colonized person. When you see a Christian brother, he is or she is a colonized person. They are not the same. They are not Africans. This is the image of Alexander and his troop marching in front of the Sphinx, the great African Sphinx. Prior to this conquest, Egypt had been conquered via the sellout pharaohs by the Persians. The people that you see here in the background are Persians who have just lost control of ancient Hemet. They are chained and they were taken away by Alexander. No one loves the warrior until the enemy is at your gate. This is what we don't want. This is what we want to prevent. Powerful queens stood up. Amenemnas, known for her leading role in Kushite armies against the Romans in war, was a fierce warrior queen. She led her kingdom into battle with the Romans and gained respect as a Kushite ruler. The one-eyed Kandake led an army of 30,000 men and fought Rome fiercely from the Egyptian city of Aswan. The brave warrior queen is remembered for her loyal combat side by side with her own soldiers. Amaniremas and her son Aknadad took the cities of Cyrene, Philae, Elephantia, and removed Roman statues from their sites as tokens for her victory. We must remember her. In southern Africa, where the Zulus, the Ndebeles, the Shangans, the Shonas, and all the other tribes that fought against the hegemony of the British and Europeans and won battles that are recorded and some that are unknown. The mighty Zimbabwean kingdom that drove away the Portuguese in the 1950s, the Monomtapa, you see them here. We fought and won many battles, but we lost here and there. Defenders of Africa. Here is the Oromo warrior, an elder Oromo warrior. Here are the Maasai still wearing the Egyptian shishakati worn all over Africa. These are the tribes that defended us. Defended Hemet, but eventually lost, moved up the Nile. There they are, the Dinka. You can't stand them. the British were lucky and fortunate to have the gun. If not, we would be wiping them out, all of them. These are the tribes. You see, Hemet, same warriors. Hemet, same warriors. They are the ancient Egyptians were not Arabs. They were not Europeans. They were not Persians. They were not Asians. They were like Africans, just like what you are seeing there in the images. Those that say they were Egyptian, the Egyptians were white, they are lost, they are liars. Here they are, the Pokot warriors who preserved our races, still wearing the ancient shishakati, worn even by us, the Ngunis, the Changhans, racial preservers, cultural preservers. There is the Maasai, tall. You can't attack these. You need modern weapons. This is how we lost. Yes, our Oromia queens, our warriors, Asante Wapiganaj. There they are. You can see them. The Tigrinya woman, Rashaida woman, Afar woman, Tigrinya woman, Kunama woman, Saho woman, Nara woman, Heradeb woman, Belen woman, Hamitic women. There we are. Still the preservers of our race. Heroes. We thank you, Asante Sana. There they are. The Kana elder. There they are. The Karamajong. There they are. The Shuluk, our warriors of ancient times, the original Egyptians. Yes, Kremesh people, Sahidic Coptic Roman people, Nua, Dinka, Nandi, Kalenjin. There they are. The other African definition from linguistic data observed, transference is as family, husband, young men, warriors, band of initiates, governors, tribes, nobles, women. They are the Muntu, known as the Lumtu, known as the Muntu, as the Buntu, and the Bantu, and interchangeable into N as observed in the Dogon languages, as Theophila Obenka observed M stays constant, and many other proofs. What do you need? They're the Mank Bedu boy in Congo, same as Tutu Ankoma. What do you want? What proof do you want? Modern defenders. They are fighting against Janjaweed, sell out black tribes that have been bought by our own oil money. Then they are fighting and destroying. That's why they've split the Sudan into the two. But we tell them, war is still going on. The migration of Arab tribes into Sudan, 14th and 15th century. And this is why the sellouts come in, trying to tell us about Quran. We don't follow that. Islam is not an African religion. Those that are following it are simply converts and lost. The Freemasons, the Copts, the Hebrews continue to ransack Carthage, continue to ransack ancient Kemet, took information from our ancient kingdoms. Today, this is the status of Africa. The green means the majority is Arab, and the light green means sparsely populated. Therefore, this is a little buffer. And this is the line of demarcation where we should defend, where our tribes, the great ones, now fight to stop and stem the tide. We need to remove this in Mozambique. We need to remove all this. We need to remove it. Dinkas fighting Arabization, Janjaweed. Arab Janjaweed tribes have been accused of killing hundreds of thousands of non-Arabs, black people in 2004, 2005, in a genocide in Darfur. Musa Hilal is a mulatto, is the main leader. We don't need this. These are sellout. These are sellout brothers. South Sudan, Al-Shabaab, all want to take over and want to encroach into Africa. But our tribes are standing up. We thank them. We praise them. Are you a sellout? Have you been converted this way? This is how you became a Muslim. This is how you became a Christian. These tribes and many others deserve our thank you. We will win against all odds. Our biggest challenge today is the enemy within, selling out to Muslims, to Chinese, and others. Every African who is a convert to Islam, to Christianity, or any other religion other than that which is connected genetically to your ancient Bantu roots is a sellout. The key is to love, to arouse your ancestors daily. Asante Sana. This priest Rabbi LM Tumizulu. Thank you to all the tribes that have preserved Africa. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. You can contact us on this email, lmtumizulu@gmail.com. You can also visit our website and read it and contribute by way of comment. Thank you. Goodbye.